What is up, rebbearsharks here for the therealtresllamas. Today I have got a Eustass Captain Kidd deck profile as requested in our last video. Check it out. The deck list will be shown at the end of the video, so if you want to go see that first, go check it out, see some of the interesting things that I'm kind of running with it, and then come back and I'll go through the whole thing for you guys and let you know what it looks like and why it does the way that it does. Thanks. Alright, so let's get into the deck list. First off, gotta start off with the big boy himself, our leader, Eustass Captain Kidd. Kidd's ability is that you can, once per turn, rest 3 Dawn and trash a card from your hand to restand your leader. This ability is crazy and is really kind of your finishing move for game. You load 7 Dawn on Kidd, making him a 12k attacker. Swing for 12k. You rest your 3 Dawn, trash a card, and then swing for 3k one more time. So, big ending game moment there. You can also use it during the rest of the game, especially if you're playing the mirror to knock out the other large 8-drop Kidd you may be playing, or some other big card. You can use it to kind of load up and make sure that you get through blockers or get through counter. Let's move into our searching core here. We are running 3 copies of Momonosuke and 4 copies of Jewelry Bonnie. So the deck is really supernova heavy, so Bonnie does a lot more legwork than Momo. Momo's still nice to have though, because there are a decent amount of Wano Country cards, especially the 2k Izo counter, you'll see in a little bit, is very nice to have. So Momo exists. I may drop him down to a 2 of, just because, like I said, there's not as many Land of Wano, and it's mainly supernovas. So occasionally you'll brick on Momo, which happened to me in a game. I bricked and had to put 2 of my 8-drop Kidds at the bottom of the deck, which really hurt. So definitely not ideal. So that's what we're rocking for the searchers. On to the blockers in our deck. We are rocking 3 copies of Killer, as well as 4 copies of Capone, Gang, Beige, or Beige. So easy 1-drop blocker, super easy to throw out and get and use for a block. Killer is great as well, because if you have 3 or more characters on the field and have a Dawn attached to him, when you block, you get to draw a card, kind of keeping your hand size up, keeping that hand advantage. So nice blocker core we got running here. Moving into our counter setup here, we are rocking 3 copies of Beppo for 2k counter, 4 copies of Scratch Mana Poo for 4k counter, and 4 copies of Izo. So we're running a total of 11 4k counter. Beppo, never played, just here for the counter. Same thing with the Poo. You could play him. The only advantage I really see of him is, you'll see a little bit later, you're running the Star Deck X Drake, so he would actually be able to get to 5k with just 1 Dawn. So he could be threaten lethal, and you could rest a Dawn card in case you're playing into purple and you might think they have Bagua. Or even playing into green again, you may have Paradise Waterfall and you can stop them from using that. So that's nice. Izo here is for the 2k counter as well as the ability. On play, Izo rests one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This is great to get around blockers, as well as some cards like Okiku, things like that in the mirror. Really nice to have to just kind of push a blocker away or push an attacker into a position where you can KO them before they get any value. Like Nico Robin can be rested by Izo and you can KO her before she gets any value. Moving on from our wonderful set of counters, we are moving into the meat of the deck to our attackers and our abilities that we're looking for to try to play every game. So we have Okiku, we're running 3 of because she has no counter, and that is problematic because without counter sometimes you end up in a bad position and you have cards in your hand that are useless. But the ability is insane. Attach a Dawn. When you're attacking, you get to rest a card with 5 cost or less. So that rests just about every blocker in the game. So you can get around a blocker with ease. Okiku already has 5k, putting her up to 6k. So again, big swing. You've rested a blocker, or you've rested a key character that you're then going to swing into with your leader or some other character. Really great. Into the 4 copies of the Star Deck X Drake. I don't see people running this, and I don't know why, because I think it is crazy. With 1 Dawn attached, on your turn, if this character is rested, all Supernova or Navy type leaders and characters gain 1,000 power. And you'll notice that X Drake is both of those. So you attach a Dawn, putting him up to 6k. When you swing, you rest him. So he does go up to 7k for the attack. So you're swinging at 7k. Your leader now has 6k automatically. And your big boss monsters like your 8-drop Kidd or your 7-drop Kidd are bumped up as well. So you're going to attach a Don to them. So putting the 8-drop kid up to 9k power, 10k. You put the 7-drop up to 8k power, 9k. So it's just a free ramp, and it's only a 4 cost. So you can play it on curve pretty well, and it flies under the radar a little bit. And if it doesn't, you get to have it taken out as a jet pistol target or whatever, so that you have other abilities to keep those from being used on your other cards. So 4-up, I think it's great. It does have counters, so that's wonderful. So now we are going to go into some of the one-ofs as well as some of the cards. So we have with us 2 copies of the OP01 X-Drake. The ability is that on play, you get to KO a rested character at the cost of 4 or less. This usually is great to get out of blockers as well as Okikus, things like that you may have rested earlier in the turn with Izo, or rested earlier in the turn with Okiku. Things like that are cards that may have swung last time and might be protected in the mirror by the kid. You can KO them, get them out of the way. Running 2 of the starter deck laws. This is great for 2 things. 1, if you really want to get 1 more swing in to try to threaten lethal and finish the game, great, 5 cost. Alternatively, if you're a little concerned that your X-Drake or your Okiku or one of the other cards you have, one of those lower cards that we're using for attack and using to put value on ourselves, even this X-Drake after it's been dropped out, you don't want it to die. You want it to stay up. Play the law, put a new body on the field, and you get to reset stand it because it's a supernova. So that's really helpful. It also would let you swing with your 5k blocking law, or your 5-cost blocking law, and then restand it to block for the turn. We're also running 1 copy of Yamato. I think this card is great when you get to use it. First off, it has counter, so that's great. The problem is the second it comes out, it's a target. So what I like to do is try to play it around 5 or 6, and if my opponent doesn't take it out, they're getting punished. I'm putting Don on it, and I'm going for the double attack banish. However, if they do deal with it right, they hit a jet pistol, they rest it, they use the 9-drop Kaido, although I don't know when they get a chance to do that early, but something like that. You've saved your X-Drake, you've saved your Okiku, you've saved a bunch of different cards that can provide more value. So I think it's great. I don't think running more of this is really necessary. You could drop some other cards for it, but I don't really feel like you need more than this. I think it's just 1 of, if you get in your hand, you can either counter out with it or you can play it on curve and kind of put the pressure on your opponent. We are moving into the part of the deck that will help you win the game, and that is your big boss monsters and the support for them. So first off, in supporting roles, we've got 2 copies of the OP01 Law. That is a blocker. On play, you can return a character to your hand and then play a character with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. That's usable. I haven't ever run into the situation where I needed it because I typically don't have an Izo on board when I'm playing it, but it's really nice to have a blocker that has 6k, so they have to attach Don to attack it. They have to really threaten something more than just 5k. Then we are running 3 of the 7-drop kids. This is here to protect your 8-drop as well as to put a lot of damage out because you get to swing with it and then restand it at the end of your turn, so there's no risk of attacking with it. And it's a big blocker that you can combo out with to keep it alive while protecting your kid. So options there, or you can let it die if you need to. And then 3 of the 8-drop kid. This card does all the work. On your turn, if you have it rested with a Don attached, your opponent can only attack Eustass Captain Kid character cards. That would include this card, the 7-drop, and the promo 3-drop Banish Kid. I don't have any of those, but all of them are fair game, just not your leader. And you can also just rest it for free and play a character with a cost of 3 or less. So you can play a blocker, you can play Izo to rest one of your opponent's characters and start attacking that turn. You can do a lot of things on the turn. I typically wait till 10 to play this card so that I can make sure it has blocking, because I don't want to send it out and then have to combo my entire hand the whole time. But these are the big things. You get this on board, you get the 7-drop on board, and you get the X-Drake on board as well as your captain. That turn will win you the game because you put 1 on X-Drake, you swing for 7k. You put 1 on Kid and you swing for 10k. You put 1 on this kid and swing for 9k. So you've only used 3 Don. That leaves 4 available to attach to your leader, and you get 2 10k swings. So if you can build that board, which is what green is trying to do, right? Green is trying to build a board that your opponent just can't deal with. So you get that set up, Kid comes in, and it just ends the game. So that's all the characters we're running in this deck. We are running some events as well. we have 3 copies of Paradise Waterfall. This card is great because it also has a trigger that lets you KO a rested character 4 or less. That's nice. But the big thing is that you can restand a character. Basically, you can use this as combo and then protect your Jewelry Bonnies or your Momos early on to keep them alive instead of actually having to defend them. So you can block with beige and just play one of these and they can't hit you again. So if they have more than one option to attack you, you play this, combo out with your blocker, and then get going. Run 1 copy of Repel. This is nice because on 2 Dawn, you can do a 2 for 1 and get 6k. I did actually do this to protect a Bonnie because I desperately needed it to draw more into my hand. It's great. I am planning to replace this with a Punk Gibson at some point because Punk Gibson has the craziest trigger, and that's what we have right now. We have 1 Punk Gibson. It's plus 4k, and you get to rest an opponent's character with a cost of 4 or less, but the greatest thing is that if you pull this off of life, you can rest any character. I played against Kid the last week before this, and I was playing as purple, and I had 2 Rush Kaidos on the board. My opponent had 1 life left, and I was going to win. I had nothing left to block me. I had my 9 cost Kaido. They didn't have enough in hand to counter, and he pulled Punk Gibson off his life with the first one, rested my 9 drop, and I lost the game because of that. Because then he could just swing with his Kid, like I talked about earlier, add 7, swing for 12, and then do it again. And there's nothing I can do there. So that's the deck. I think it is wonderful. Kid has quickly become my favorite deck to play because I feel like no matter what situation in, you are competitive. You don't have to be the greatest. You don't have to play any crazy thing. It's super consistent, so you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I missed this. Like Onigashima. I missed Onigashima. There's no way I can win. It does very well. I went 2 for 4. Or 2 and 2 on the night, ended up in 5th place out of 11. That's more my skill than anything else. I played Zoro twice. I beat Zoro once. Didn't beat him the first time, and that was mainly just because he got a Shanks out, and at that point, it's kind of hard to deal with Shanks. You can't block him with anything cheap, and I couldn't do much to protect myself after that. And then I lost the mirror the first time I played the guy. I did play him again and won the mirror. So you just kind of have to get the right cards at the right moment. Sometimes when you're playing the mirror, you want to get your 8 cost Kid out first. And he got his out way before I could even think about getting one because I bottom decked one of them and kind of in a weird situation. Some things I'm going to change about the deck is that I am planning to put in Basil Hawkins. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to drop yet. But I'm going to put in some Basil Hawkins. Even though it doesn't have counter, that card is what made the mirror so difficult for me because I couldn't block. Because if I did, he just got to attack again and attack my blocker again, and it just wasn't working. So I'm putting some Hawkins in, I think, and I'm not sure where they're going in, but that's the biggest change. I may drop one moment, like I said, and that may be a spot where it goes in. All right, so here is the whole deck list laid out, just in case you guys wanted to see it. I will also try to put a link in the bio here to show you the deck list online, so you can check it out and build it yourself. Like I said, I think this Kid tech is super interesting. I don't see a lot of people playing the X-Drake. I'm not running any Cat Vipers, anything like that. I really think just buffing your leader and buffing the rest of your characters is huge and can do a lot for you. And I love this deck. I think it's so much fun. I think it's going to be the thing I main going into the competitive season. We'll be making some tweaks, like I said, and looking forward to keeping playing this. I love One Piece. I love the card game, and it's been so much fun to get to make decks and kind of see how they work and learn the ins and outs of the game. Thank you for watching the video. Please like and comment letting us know what other leaders you want to see, as well as what deck you're thinking is going to end up at the top of the meta for the Treasure Cup coming up in the next couple of weeks. Please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join the alpaca to be notified when we get more videos coming out. We are so excited to bring you more incredibly average content. Thank you for watching. Try your best like us. See ya.